Sadly, we have all had to say goodbye to a beloved pet, as Julie Pitts does in Mr. Bartholomew.
Mr. Bartholomew was the most beautiful cat in the world, in the universe. He was mostly black with 3 white feet and a white bib. There was also a teeny bit of white on the tip of his tail, but unless you were looking close, you'd never notice. He had a deep, rumbling purr that came from far down from his chest and made the white bib vibrate. I got Mr. Bartholomew when I was 3 years old. I used to put doll's clothes on him and push him around in the doll buggy. I would put bonnets on him and little dresses, and he didn't seem to mind at all. The only thing he didn't like was booties. When I put booties on him, he'd bite and claw until he got them off. So I quit doing it. Once, when I was pushing Mr. Bartholomew in the doll buggy, a dog started barking at us, and Mr. Bartholomew jumped out of the buggy and ran up a tree. He looked pretty funny sitting up there wearing a lavender dress with lace around the collar. Mrs. Downing, who used to live down the street from us and whose tree Mr. Bartholomew climbed, came out and took a picture of him. I still have it in my safe box. Besides being beautiful, Mr. Bartholomew was intelligent. Once I counted, and he had a vocabulary of 14 words. That is, he recognized 14 different words and knew what they meant, like no and down and good kitty. He knew his name, of course, and he also recognized the sound of a can opener, but I didn't count that as a word. Secretly, I always suspected Mr. Bartholomew to set the record for longevity. Since he was the prettiest cat I'd ever seen, and the smartest too, I thought he would probably be the oldest too. My brother Randy, who goes to college, talked to me one time about what we would do if Mr. Bartholomew got very sick and couldn't have fun anymore. I agreed that I would never want him to be in pain, and if the doctor said he couldn't get well, we would have to put him to sleep. I didn't like thinking about it, or even talking about it, or even thinking about it. But at the same time, I felt sort of protective and heroic, knowing I would be able to keep my furry friend from suffering. Mr. Bartholomew didn't set the record for old cats after all. As smart as he was, he never learned to look before he crossed the street, and one summer night he didn't make it. Randy found him. He came home to get a box to put Mr. Bartholomew in. I cried when he told me. I ran outside. I ran out of the house, out to the street, with Randy running after me, telling me not to look. I looked anyways, and I wish I had it. We buried him in the backyard, under the apple tree that I used to sharpen his claws on. In the spring, I sit there in the grass and lean my back against the tree trunk and look up at the apple blossoms and wish Mr. Bartholomew could sit in my lap again and purr.